You get a generator, water, you provide your own water, you provide your own security. At some point, you have to also help to do the road to your office and so on. So when you look at all these things, it does not encourage people to voluntarily say they want to pay tax, because on the part of government, they also feel the government is slacking. Government is not meeting its own responsibility. So that is the failure of the social contract, that has been with us.
Welcome back. You're watching Signature Morning on Signature Television, and today we are dealing with different issues: politics, economy, and this time, health. Very recently, the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria released a guideline for verification of certificates of nurses across Nigeria, but that didn't go well with some persons in the top government echelon. Today we have Dr. Chijioke Oliver Nwodo, PhD. He is a nurse, by the way, even though he is a doctor too. So he will explain to us how that happened. He will talk to us specifically how that is playing out, why the stringent verification process, why the website was brought down, and why the National Assembly asked that the website be brought down. So he would explain to us regarding that particular matter. Good to have you, Doctor. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here with you.
So tell us, how would you love to be addressed? Doctor, nurse? Because it's quite confusing. In
Yes.
the same word, doctor, nurse, Chijioke.
Okay, it's a global practice that once you bag your PhD, then automatically you go with the title doctor.
Okay.
However, because of the symbolic representation I think I am into in being in nursing profession, I would like that my professional title nurse to come before every other thing. So for that, when you call me nurse Chijioke Oliver Nwodo, maybe PhD,
Okay.
I may be okay with that. Or if you choose to add the doctor, let the nurse come first. Nurse Dr. Chijioke Oliver Nwodo.
It's quite interesting. Never thought that would be a nurse and doctor in one name.
or a doctor come after a nurse as a title. It happened.
Okay.
The nurse has to come first.
Okay, give us an overview of what the council is about, what the council is about, and what they do generally.
Okay, the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria is the body that regulates the education and practice of nursing in Nigeria, just as there is Nursing and Midwifery Council regulating the education and practice of nursing in all other countries of the world. That's the body regulating the education and practice of nursing in Nigeria.
Okay.
That is the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria.
Okay. I understand that you guys released a stringent means or stringent verification process of certificates. Why was that, and why is there a backlash with the National Assembly?
Okay, let me clarify something. If you say we, it will be as if I'm part of them. I'm a nurse actually, though in the academia, but I also a stakeholder because I have gotten up to PhD level of education in nursing. So I'm a stakeholder in the nursing profession. However, the council is made up of the board of the council and the registrar and other support staff members of the council. The council came up with that policy to regulate the rate at which nurses are moving out, or would I say to them what they believe were some maybe wrongdoings from some nurses who are migrating abroad. And because of that, they came up with that policy. And the policy came out at a time when the board of the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria has not been constituted by the present government. And because of that, it caused a lot of uproar. Outcry by nurses. The nurses said, no, you can't come up with this kind of guideline that says someone has to stay up to 2 years after the temporal license has been expired before the person can just go for verification of his or her certificates. And plus other measures, the person has to write to the CEO of the hospital where he or she has worked for them to give a written account of the person's stewardship and so on and so forth. So a lot of things like that were like unnecessary bottleneck. That's the way the nurses perceived it, that the council shouldn't have even gone to do in the first place. That's what the law should ordinarily ask for is, I'm asking you, this certificate this person claims to have gotten, did it come, were you aware of that? Did you approve that? And the answer should have been ordinary yes or no. But using that avenue of telling the foreign North American bodies whether this person's qualification is genuine or not, to now keep the person in the country beyond time limit expected of him, is what nurses, generally, it was a public outcry by nurses. And that attracted the attention of the National Assembly. And the National Assembly said, no, this can't be. You have to suspend this guideline. Then some other nursing bodies also, some other aggrieved persons in nursing also went to court. Up to 3 different groups went to court. Nurses went to court to challenge that. They said, no, this cannot be. And the National Assembly also came in and said, suspend this guideline. No, that this guideline cannot work from now until they verify, they look into the entire matter to know whether that should hold or not. While this order to suspend came up and the court case also started, next thing that happened was that the council, now I will say council in quote because it was only the registrar and the support staff that were working, because the board actually is not there. When you say nursing council and you want to alienate the board from the nursing council, it's like you are being saying the truth by half, not saying it exactly the way it is, because the council is made up of the board and the chief executive officer, who is the registrar, and these other auxiliary staff members. However, it was the registrar alone that is on seat. And the registrar being on seat now was the one that came up with this position. And that was the major reason why a lot of persons reacted and said, if the board was there at an issue, probably this thing should have been fine-tuned very well before it comes out to the public that this is the new way for checking whether someone's certificate is true or not. So National Assembly said they should suspend it. And in a bid to suspend that, the registrar went ahead. I'm using the registrar because it is coming, the whole thing was coming from him. I don't know any other person working with him may have supported that, but the registrar came up with another idea of stopping the entire verification. Not just suspending the new guideline.
Guidelines, okay.
Because even those that went to court said, suspend that, this is your new guideline. That it is too harsh on nurses. National Assembly said, suspend this your new guideline. But maybe wrong interpretation by the registrar and those he's working with made it in such a way that they understood it as suspending everything about verification. So since February this year, they suspended everything about verification of nurses' licenses. So a lot of nurses whose intention to migrate overseas, maybe for school even, and those going there to work in other establishments overseas, all these things got stalled because the council could no longer verify their licenses and qualifications and send information to the foreign regulators. So this thing now made the National Assembly to come up just last week to say, when the cry came up again by the nurses, they said that the registrar, instead of suspending the guideline, went ahead to stop verification completely. Which he shouldn't do. That what he would have done is to go back to the old way he was doing the verification before coming up with the new guideline. Because everybody found out the new guideline and not the old one. So what you would have done is to stop the new guideline, go back to the old way you were doing it, while all these other authorities look into the matter to know whether there should be any modification.
In what ways, you mentioned that the registrar stopped the verification.
Yes.
In what ways or way did this stoppage
Yes.
affect nurses
Okay.
and beyond nurses, maybe their patients?
Okay, thank you very much. It affected mainly the nurses. And that's why it was mainly an outcry by the entire nurses. If you check, the registrar of the council released a figure when he had a national broadcast last time, that within just 3 years, 42,000 nurses immigrated. Then within 2003, 15,000 had already left the country. That is to tell you the number of nurses who are leaving the country on a daily basis.
Is it
So-
because of the